Hello, everybody. I am with James Carrol, Kaelaris, the official IEM caster for ESL. James, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm a little bit tired. Last week has been a bit crazy in terms of preparing for CBIT and the Intel Extreme Masters, but other than that, doing pretty good.
So yes, like you said, the IEM is having the World Championships next week, beginning on March 5th, going to the 9th, I think.
Yeah.
So this has been your first year at ESL, your first year as their official caster. So how would you qualify your experience this year? How's it been over at ESL?
It's been a dream come true, I suppose I'll say. It's as you say, it has actually CBIT marks my 1 year period pretty much of working with ESL. So to have it come full circle now and be at my second World Championship is going to be really nice. I'm eager to look back at my World Championship VODs from the very beginning of 2012 and then compare them to what I can actually do here and see how much I've changed in this 1 year period. Um, but I mean, just again, a dream come true. I've done so many events across Europe, things like working with people like from DreamHack, working with the Iron Squid guys recently as well. Just really cool roller coaster of experiences.
So what's it been? What's been your best IEM event for this year so far?
Definitely Katowice. I
Was
don't
it?
think anybody can compete with that right now. I don't even know if CBIT can compete with that. I mean, it's supposed to be the World Championship, and it's going to be I mean, the talent that we have at the tournament is awesome, but Katowice's crowd and the atmosphere of it was astonishingly good. It blew away all my expectations for the event. So that was definitely the highlight. I heard that there were one or two stream problems. I didn't watch the stream, obviously, so I can't say.
Right.
But other than that, it was mind blowing.
So a follow-up question for you then is like a great produced, like with all the bells and whistles of like a great produced stream. Would a passionate crowd be more important for you? Do you think?
For me, if you had to choose the passion of a crowd fueling your casting to a flawless stream and really kind of cool graphics and lights and whistles and, as you said, bells and everywhere. Just I think that the power of a crowd is so much more fantastic. And especially if you mic that up properly and you get that on stream, like that will rile up the people at home as well as make our casting better. Things like doing WCS Europe with Apollo, I think we worked really well together in some of the series we had. Not only because the games were pretty good, but also because again there was this really passionate crowd behind us, and you could hear them at every moment, just screaming and shouting, and it was really cool. So yeah, cool crowds.
All right. So IEM made a lot of waves last a few weeks ago when they announced that the World Championships will be played on HOTS. Um, I mean, without talking about the controversy of it, I think I'm going to be talking to your boss about that on Saturday. Um,
Okay.
what do you think this is going to bring to the competition? Do you feel like this is obviously it's going to affect the competition in a huge way? How do you feel it's going to affect the competition being played on HOTS?
Um, in terms of, do you mean from business to business
No,
perspective?
I'm
Or
talking about like a casting perspective, a player's perspective, or something that sort of perspective, even a spectator's perspective, in your opinion.
okay. Well, I'm. I think that this is going to be probably the most chaotic tournament we've ever seen in terms of results. Like normally, when you're going into a tournament, if you watch a lot of StarCraft, if you play a lot of StarCraft, you can generally look at a roster of players in Wings of Liberty and say, "Yeah, these are the top three finishers, right?" But here, I don't think anybody can predict the winner. Anybody can predict the top three. I would give them a medal. It's going to be astonishingly hard to determine who is the best there. I mean, Hasu Ops, for example, is currently sitting in the high upper echelons of grandmasters in Heart of the Swarm, and everyone around him is a Korean. There's no other foreigners there. It's all just Koreans, and then Hasu Obs just sat in the middle of them all. So Hasu Obs could, for all we know, come along and win the whole thing. And you wouldn't, I mean, although he's a great player, you wouldn't necessarily say that about him going up against this field in like Wings of Liberty, for example. So there's so many different dynamics that could really swing anything either way. And from a spectator's perspective, I think that it's going to be very interesting to watch because we're going to see all these guys come together for the first proper Heart of the Swarm tournament, and that is going to be and 100K on the line. It's pretty good. So
And a nice engraving on that cup that you guys got there. It's pretty sweet.
it's true as well. MC was eyeing that up, and he's is he? God, I can't even remember if he's in the roster still. I think he is because he got knocked out of GSL and then blah blah blah. But yeah, so yeah, he definitely wants his name on that a second time.
So you've mentioned a few players already, like Hasuobs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, how do you think these groups are going to play out? Like, do you think that the foreigners are going to be able to close the gap? Like, are we not going to see that? We're not going to see that Korean dominance that we saw in Wings of Liberty, or are we going to see Koreans, take the whole thing again? Or
Well, I mean, just give me a sec whilst I get up the
yeah,
groups
sure, no problem.
to really kind of hone down on them. I don't know them all completely off by heart, of course.
Well, of course, we're not going to look for a huge overview of every single group by player, but
Yeah,
I mean, like, given who's attending, given that
yeah.
it's Heart of the Swarm, I mean, who do you think's really going to impress this weekend?
Well, I mean, normally you would look at a tournament and you would say, well, oh, this is the group of death, oh, this is the group of death. And admittedly, when you look at them, Group D is very, very stacked. MVP, Stefano, Grubby, Dream. I actually did a little write-up for ESL a week or two before, and I pegged people like Dream, in fact, to do very, very well here. So considering that he's in a very, very strong group there, I still think he's going to do really well. Still think he's either going to come first or second in there. But on the more broader spectrum, I think that the foreigners have a pretty darn good chance of actually competing with the Koreans here. Albeit that the Koreans are heavily on the Protoss side, and all of them are pretty darn good in Yonghwa, Parting, First MC, etc. But still, I think the foreigners are going to have a good shot. They've got a level playing field to a certain degree in terms of the new units and balance and things like that. So, yeah, I think they'll do pretty well.
So, given what you've played so far and given what you've casted so far, what races are looking strongest? Which races are looking weakest in Heart of the Swarm so far, in your opinion?
I've seen. I could get really specific here, but I'll try and avoid that as much as possible. I've seen a lot of Zerg struggling with Terrans. I mean, that's been kind of on the radar for a while. There's been a situation where I've seen a lot of Zergs sticking to what I would say would be mid-game compositions and not really transitioning on to try and battle like the late-game compositions of Protoss and a Terran. So like you would see a lot of, I mean, if you tune into a lot of streams, you would see like Lings into Hydra mid-game with Swarm hosts and then mixing in some Vipers later on, but they never really transition out of the Hydra list. They just get demolished by everything, like from a Protoss late game, for example. So I think that Protoss has a really good chance. Maybe Terran. I don't think Zerg's going to win it, basically, right
Okay,
now.
that's a pretty
So,
bold prediction. Given the Wings of Liberty's history, it's a pretty bold prediction. And then now ZVZ's GSL Finals that's going to be coming up. But just a question to you now: what do you think is going to take this weekend? Like, do you think innovation is going to be not innovation the player, but innovation in terms of play style is going to be the hallmark of the champion this next week, or do you think it's going to be like just those safe mechanics driven, macro driven plays? Like, what do you think is going to be more powerful at this tournament?
I, there's two ways that this can go. Either there's going to be a situation where somebody hasn't really had that much time to play HOTS and is just like sticking to normal Wings of Liberty metagame and just crushes everyone because everyone's being too experimental. Or there's going to be someone who comes out and has really, really figured out, a very, very strong build that might even not necessarily be too balanced in inverted commas. Like, for example, when we saw, the Slayers, Terrans, and MLG just demolishing everyone with Hellions.
Right.
Some little dynamic like that could occur. But thankfully, because HOTS is the follow-on from Wings of Liberty, I don't think we're going to see because everyone expected there to just be like that period where everything would be super volatile to the point where you would only have like one base versus one base or two base versus two base. But people's people's brains have been trained so well from Wings of Liberty's kind of standards that you're not, you're seeing long games, long big games in Heart of the Swarm, and you get to see like those end game compositions of Tempest, Colossus, oracles everywhere flying around,
Right.
killing everyone, while swarm hosts and vipers pull everything towards them. And so I think we're going to see some really cool engagements, and casting it is going to be a lot of fun because to see that kind of thing unfold in front of me is going to be awesome.
Hopefully less Broodlord and Fester.
Yes, I got so bored of that. I will admit, very, very bored of that. I like watching people like I don't know if you know Delphi over in the America,
Yeah.
but people like him, when I'm casting the EPS cups, he hardly ever goes like Broodlord Infester in like PvZ. He just goes for weird like mid game or early game stuff, and he wins, and it's fun to watch. But if you get stuck in the rut of a Broodlord Infester game, it's like, well, guys, we're here again. Happen.
So, last time we talked, I can't remember when that was, but in your last interview that we had, you spoke about how you didn't, you liked casting with just about anybody, co-casting people, it didn't matter. You were comfortable with anybody. Over this past year, you've casted with so many different people, so many, different personalities. Are you still of the same opinion that you can just, fit in with anybody? You can just, or have you started developing, sort of chemistry with specific casters?
I think I'll still stick to that. Obviously, there will always be like stronger partnerships, and I think that some partners favor like we get on better than other ones. For example, I think that the two people I work with best is still like we haven't actually cast for a while, but Grubby is still one of the people that I get on with best. And then when I'm casting with Apollo, I think we really kind of synergize very, very well in a cast. I mean, no, I'm not blowing my own horn or anything. Maybe people think we suck. I don't know. But,
Right.
like I think it works really well. And whenever we're casting with each other, I think we feed off one another's hype. So it works out cool.
All right. And then just another question in terms of production stuff. IEM's bringing back the analysis desk for the World Championships, which is going to be helmed by Hearthstone, I think, QXC, and then Jarrett. So, what do you think that adds to the production, and how, as a caster, do you feel like it helps or hinders your job at all?
It simplifies it. I mean, there's times where you're in the middle of a cast, or sorry, there's times when you come out of a game and you're just like buying time or going over things you've already said during the cast, just to to re-emphasize them and things like that. And whilst I'm not complaining about that factor, I mean, all casters are used to that kind of thing. It just gives the casters a little bit of an opportunity to just say, well, we're here to just cast the game, and we are here for that specific portion. We have a whole fresh bundle of ideas about that game elsewhere that really broadens the horizon on a game. And especially since you've got pro players there, it really, really does take it to that next level in terms of what pro players have a very, very good idea of what's going on in the game. So it's nice to hear their thoughts from it. I really like the analysis desk.
All right. And so, what's in the future for you for IEM? Is there going to be any chance that you're going to be casting overseas in the near future and in the future at all?
I actually don't have anything lined up right now, but ESL is going to keep me kind of busy. We have a lot of plans for 2013. Not really too much I can go into detail of right now, but it's 2012 was really, really good, but 2013 for me as well as ESL is going to be pretty awesome as well. Looking forward to it.
All right. So, finally, last question for you. What are you most excited to see next week, do you think? If you could just summarize it in like one sentence, one thing that you're super excited to see next week, what would it be?
An unexpected champion would be nice. If someone like MVP, Stefano, just parting MC comes out and wins, I'd be like, well, they're pretty good players. They kind of deserve it. But I would love, 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 love to see just someone, who has hunkered down with Heart of the Swarm and really got to grips with it that you would never expect, and just take it all. It'd be cool.
Hasselhoffs, maybe?
Maybe. Could be anyone. I mean, like, even X-Lord for I think anyone has a shot here at this point. Everyone is so good in the tournament. The lineup is so stacked. This genuinely just could go any single way. And this has been the first time since I've been casting StarCraft that I have had an impossible time actually predicting who is going to win.
All right. So, any shout outs, thank yous, etc., etc.?
Well, thank you very much to ESL, obviously, as they do give me a very nice home to go to, as well as, everything that goes along with that. Thank you to you guys, ESFI. I always love the coverage that you guys do, and I better say hi to Mum because she'll.
Perfect. That's all we have for you today. So, if you want, keep tuned on ESFI next week for all of our coverage of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships beginning on March 5th.